Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Thanks for joining us on the show today. Nigeria indeed has brilliant researchers, ambitious innovators, and a fast-growing tech population. But for decades now, one question has persisted. Why do so many groundbreaking ideas never make it into industries, job, and real economic growth? Why does research often end up on paper, while innovation ecosystems in other countries attract funding, scale products, and dominate global markets? It's a big question that has troubled Nigeria for many years, now at a time where countries across the world are aggressively leveraging science, technology, and innovation to drive competitiveness. Nigeria is under pressure to move beyond policy promises to measurable outcomes, especially as the government seeks to diversify the economy and reduce dependence on imports. It's all these issues that have taken Nigeria's leadership to the global stage, from Davos, where nations pitched their innovation ecosystems to investors and tech leaders at the World Economic Forum, to Türkiye, where we had discussions focused on turning research into market-ready solutions through strategic partnerships. My guest tonight is one of the key figures now tasked with delivering results, Dr. Kingsley Ude, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and Honorable Minister of the Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, recently confirmed by the Senate, joins me in what I believe is his first exclusive TV interview since his appointment as minister. He joins me live from our Abuja studio to examine what Nigeria brought back from Türkiye and Davos. What deals and commitments are on the table right now, the challenges facing the innovation sector, and the concrete steps his ministry is taking to turn ideas into sustainable prosperity. Good evening and welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Dr. Ude.
Good evening, my brother.
And thank you for joining us. Let's begin with the president's recent visit to Türkiye. What specific MOUs or agreements did Nigeria secure specifically in areas of innovation, science, and technology?
Thank you. Congratulations, Nigeria, for the presidential visit to Türkiye. The president showed himself as a very articulate leader and one that understands geopolitics and diplomacy. So in the course of the presidential visit, Nigeria was able to secure several agreements or pact or MOUs touching on various aspects of the Nigerian economy and polity. There were some on defense, which was the central focus of that engagement. There were some on trade and investment, on women and cultural exchange, and of course on science, technology, and innovation. Something that is very important that Nigerians note is that these agreements or these MOUs were not on just concepts and things that relate to just academics, but practical things that relate to our development that will impact on the lives of Nigerians. And so you see some of the MOUs even touch on things related to the travels and visa, and how Nigerians in diaspora could, leverage all the advantages that are in that country and maximize the opportunities there. And of course, how investors that are Turkish or Turkish could come to Nigeria and even do more. We have Turkish nationals in Nigeria, but with this visit, there's further confidence for Turkish business people, the investors, to come to Nigeria and invest. Now, in the area of science, technology, and innovation, which is my own sector, not only did we discuss issues related to co-creating projects, research application, transfer of technology. We took even further steps to work on actionable outcomes, action plan that we refer to as science, technology, innovation, investment, and industry. One peculiar thing about Turkey is that he understands the importance of linking innovation, technology to industry. And that is why, from the beginning, the even conceptualization of scientific research, you see that the market or the industry is tied to it from the beginning, so that every research is targeted at addressing market or industrial needs from the beginning. And so that is what Nigeria seeks to even advance in.
All right.
We know that we are not bereft of innovation in Nigeria. Of course, you know that in Nigeria, you boast of fintechs that are unicorns. About 5 of them that are unicorns valued over $1 billion US. Talk about OPay, InterSwitch and all that. So we are not bereft of ideas and innovation, but we want to maximize what can come out of our science, technology, and innovation ecosystem. And we've taken some examples from Turkey, and not just taking examples, we're also taking steps to work together.
And that's
on
very
the action plans that we come with. Yes,
very important, Honorable Minister, because you spoke about moving beyond research for knowledge sake to research with market impact. So there are conversations here as to how, with the framework being discussed with Turkey, concretely help Nigerian researchers commercialize their work and attract investment. We're going to get to that shortly. There's the question of what role Nigeria's private sector will play in these bilateral partnerships. Are there Turkish firms or investors already lined up to partner with Nigerian startups or institutes?
Yeah, there are. And something that is beautiful that I note is that we have many Nigerians in Turkey, and many of them doing very well, many in their science, technology, and innovation ecosystem. And some of them were there during the bilateral talks we had with our counterparts. Some even accompanied me to one of the foremost technoparks in Ankara, the capital of Turkey. Apart from those that are Nigerians in diaspora in Turkey, some business people also joined, came around, because we even had an investment roundtable of businesses in Nigeria, businesses in Turkey, and businessmen across these regions that came together for discussions and interaction. Because you note that if we leave discussions, agreement and MOUs in the hands of government officials, it wouldn't trickle down. So it is good that there was ownership from the beginning amongst the private sector leaders, especially for the one that relates to be from the science, technology, and innovation ecosystem. So the private sector was not just represented; they were also dictating the tone of some of the engagement we had, particularly the one that related to science, technology, and innovation. Because, you know, our focus under the administration of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, is to project government as not just government run by government people, but government that involves the people, where everybody has a stake. And so that was how we ran the discussions, the engagement, the bilateral talks. Immediately we came out from the presidential palace, went to the technical sessions. It was open to our diaspora business people that joined, and Turkish business people. And I can assure you, they had already begun to contact me beyond even my counterpart in Turkey. They are talking to us about what we can do together to take forward the thing that we agreed government to government. And they know that they have the protection of both the government of Nigeria and Turkey. because they were allowed to be part of it. And with the support they received and the openness, the access that were granted to them in that talk, and after the talks, the openness that we've shown to take not just conversation forward, but steps forward, they have shown a lot of enthusiasm, and we are beginning to take action beyond the agreement.
And it's important, that action is very important, and that it's important that we also see the impact of that enthusiasm. The reason why Nigerians are so concerned, I'm sure you're following some updates on the news. Some are beginning to talk about the amount of money that has been used on foreign trips under this administration in the past 2 years. And they are concerned about seeing in black and white the figures that Nigeria is making from all of these foreign engagements. Let's turn briefly to the 56th World Economic Forum in Davos. You were there with the Vice President. How did Nigeria position its innovation sector on that global stage? Are there partnerships, commitments, or investor interest that we see emerge from that forum?
You see, no one tree can make a forest. Nigeria is a member of the international community, and travel forms part of what makes us a member of the international community. We don't travel because we want to travel. We travel because it's an obligation. We travel because we have outcomes that have impact on our country and the sub-region, the continent. We travel because we want to show leadership. We take our place in the Committee of Nations. So at Davos, we did not just travel, we have established the Nigeria House, where Nigerians across the globe that came for the World Economic Forum came and identified proudly as their own. A lot of activities went on there, all sectors: agriculture, defense, security, trade and investment. Different nationals came there, US citizens, UK, and we were proud. So for the first time, the Nigeria House was opened by His Excellency the Vice President. We hosted, I as a minister, hosted a lot of investors in tech ecosystem across the globe. India, Switzerland, UK, US. And also show them that we have opportunities in Nigeria. Nigeria is not keen on buying technology. We are keen on technology transfer. Nigeria is a large science, technology, and innovation ecosystem. And we're also presenting to them how Nigeria is taking the lead in tech startups that become unicorns, and how that we are happy as a government to de-risk investment for them to come, not to bring in their technology, but for us to co-create with our scientists here, our tech people, startups here, so that there will be certainly ventilation, cross-ventilation of ideas, co-creation of projects. We're not saying we stay without having interaction or bringing in technology from other countries, other jurisdictions, but it must be with a consciousness that there's transfer of technology, there's improvement of our technological skills, improvement in what we're able to produce here. We're making progress already, but we cannot even make more progress with partnership, with collaboration. So it's not about making purchases. And so it was loud and clear in Davos. Every Nigerian that was in Davos at the World Economic Forum was proud of what we're able to achieve.
You know,
it was a beehive of activities.
Yes. You know that many countries now focus on research export or licensing. And it's important that we begin to establish how Nigeria stands now in terms of technology transfer and global innovation competitiveness. I want us to return home for a bit on the domestic front. We seem to have long struggled to turn some of our university research into marketable products. What actionable steps is your ministry taking in that regard to bridge the research to industry gap, including incentives and regulatory reforms?
Immediately I came in, because I also have a very strong research background, having taught in the various Nigerian universities and abroad. So I also understand the need to transform research outcomes to commercially viable product and services. So on assumption of office, the first thing I did, one of the first things I did, was to set up a committee made up of industry leaders to come up with guidelines, draft guidelines on commercialization of scientific research outcomes and invention. Now, having done that, one other thing that we have also set out to do to ensure that we take out research outcomes from the shelves, from the labs, and take to the market is directly connecting the industry to research effort. And doing that, we do not start from research to industry. We start from industry to research, meaning that we're now having interface with industry leaders, having meetings with them. Confidence is growing. They see access. They see receptiveness. They see openness, that we can have conversation towards identifying areas of businesses, areas of the industry, of the market that requires research to scale up production, scale up their industry, scale up profit. And this research would have to be done by organizations, institutions that are not the industries themselves. And where ought they look to for this? Our research institutions, our universities. And let me say this, Nigerian businesses actually patronize research. They patronize research from those that they know will deliver outcomes that would help their businesses grow. You see them take some issues on their products and services to countries that they know have capacity and are focused on research that are related to the problems presented to them. So you see them taking these things to China, and Chinese people research and then develop products that will meet the needs. So now we are doing this in the universities, trying to see that this happens in the universities. NOTAP, which is an agency under the Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, that is National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion. We've set up in various universities the Intellectual Property and Technology Acquisition Centers, which interfaces with faculties, deans of faculties that do scientific research, to ensure that researches that they are doing relate to the problems in the marketplace, so that as these researches are done, they are ready off-takers that will not just take this but will fund and then commercialize. So apart from the guidelines on commercialization, we're also trying to bring these sectors, this divide, the industry, the research institutions, the educational institutions, that would, there'll be a handshake, so that as research is done, it is targeted at problems in the market, in the industry. And once this research can solve industrial needs, market needs, the off-takers are there.
And it sounds good,
So
Dr.
that's
Day.
been our focus.
But critics argue that policy without funding is just talk. Can you tell categorically that there are funding mechanisms or partnerships that are being structured to support innovators and early stage enterprises in this regard?
Yeah, they are certainly funding. It may not be sufficient. And let me say this. There's no country that would run its research and development only on the fund of government. Turkey has advanced to the level they are, that their economy is growing very fast, one of the fastest growing in their region, and they are almost becoming self-sufficient in technology. And when I ask my counterpart, he says 70% of their R&D is funded by the private sector. And they are not funding it because of their patriotic stance. They are funding because R&D are directed at industry problems and needs. Do you get what I'm saying now?
Indeed.
Yeah, so yes, government is making effort at funding, but we're also recalibrating, trying to restructure the interface, the relationship between research and industry, so that industry players will be happy to put their funds to R&D that will solve their problems and upscale their goods and services,
Dr.
and bring in profit for them.
Let's talk about you for a minute. You transitioned from moving from your role as Attorney General in Enugu State to now leading the Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology. How has that transition been for you? You've been there for about 2 months now, right?
Yes. The good thing is that I've always been in the STI ecosystem. My first stint in government, or my first office as a public servant, was Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Enugu State on Development Aid. And the focus of that office for the 2 years I served was on development of the SEI ecosystem of the state through development funding from development partners. I had a relationship with GIZ, and it's on record that with my interaction with GIZ, they started some programs in the state. Then I later became the special advisor to the governor on education. It was also, my focus was also on STI. I remember one of the days that as a minister, 2 weeks or so in office, I went to a Tech Fest. And one of the leaders of that Tech Fest met me and said, Dr. Ude, this is meeting you where we've always known you belong.
This is tech.
We've worked on this together, and here you are now the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology. We believe with this you'll be able to push things far, because you've always shown interest in this. And like I said, I've been a researcher, and what my office does, the mandate of this office, is to coordinate the innovation, science and technology ecosystem, is to give leadership. The coordination that is lacking, that is what I'm providing.
All right.
I've been a governance person for over 2 decades.
Dr. Day,
and you can see the energy in the ecosystem already.
We have to go in 2 minutes now. It sounds like you're saying, even though you're a senior advocate, being in the IST is not a misfit, and I get that. But, we cannot also wish away the political providence that brought you to power. I was in Enugu last year when Mr. Governor decamped to the APC, and I followed conversations on local TV. One of them saying, well, your appointment is political consolidation for the Enugu state government. But you have also assumed office, replacing your predecessor in a context marked by controversy. What immediate priorities did you identify when you took over, and how have you begun to address them? If you can answer that in 1 minute.
Immediately I came in, what I prioritized was teamwork. What I had in mind is that government is a continuum. What I set out to do was to talk by performance, to lead by example. And that's what we have done, and the results are there. I was not keen on who put any leader of agency in.
Okay.
What I was interested in is how do we optimize our performance? And I'm happy that within these 2 months, the STI ecosystem has been energized. And we talk by performance. And what Nigerians should look out for, just like every other office I've occupied, is a super performance, because not just is the capacity and the passion there, I have the right attitude. And working with industry leaders as a team player, we would deliver for the Nigerian people. And the President, His Excellency Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, that gave the mandate, he will be proud that he did.
All right. Good place to leave it. We should have this conversation more often. I've been speaking with Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Dr. Kingsley Ude, who is the Honorable Minister of the Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Tech. Dr. Ude, thank you for your insight. You should come on the show more often so we can track your progress in your new ministry. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, Nigerians.
And that's our show today, everyone. Remember, you can watch it again at midnight and 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Okuntoye.